Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
How's the sound? That sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
Wow.
Too loud? We'll open the board meeting of the Greensley Oaks President's Organization. And first thing, before we get into the agenda, I just found out this morning that Bill Lewis passed last night. So, sad news. I know that Monday night I think he went into hospice. I knew that much. But, so, keep Margaret in your prayers. Going into our agenda, I need approval of the minutes from the last meeting as posted.
I so move. I second.
Moved and second to approve the minutes as posted. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? It passes. Now, unsung hero, Ron Carter, come on up here, please.
I'll go ahead.
For those of you who have never heard of Ron Carter before, who would that be? A good question. Got a whole list of notes. And as it turns out, you started in the Air Force for a couple of years, and then you went to Honeywell, worked there for some 40 years. You didn't know when to retire early, huh?
Well, I didn't know. I was busy. I had a nice job.
Okay. Well, you did finally retire, and you joined the Retirees Club, and you had a nice building over there by Tampa.
Right. It was.
And guess what? They had grounds around that building. And guess what? Who ended up doing the lawn and the gardening and whatnot? You were chairman of that, so you had some training. Ron's been here at Regency Oaks for 6.5 years. And when he first got here, he wandered around the campus and found the garden area. At that time, it was mostly in weeds. So I think there was, you said, one plot?
There was one plot.
Yeah, one plot was being gardened. So he went into the weed pulling business. And before the pandemic, we had 50 members in the garden club, and currently there's 25. And if you look around, all the improvements that are made in the garden area, Ron had a big hand in getting the money. Because the sidewalk was paid for by residents. And all the concrete around the shed and the second shed is paid for by residents. Now the shed was purchased by Regency Oaks. But we had about...
It was a half and half thing. Actually.
Yeah. But we had about half a dozen guys trying to put it all together. There was only 500,000 screws in that thing. And of course, the salvage of the old fire pit, for those who remember it, all that wood that was there, actually it's not really wood, it's that plastic wood. And we salvaged that and brought it down to the garden that was used to build flower boxes and line the plots around, instead of having woods, because the wood would rot and get eaten by, we have termites down there too, yeah, right. And it's been so successful that marketing has made videos in the garden, and they also take new prospects down to show them the garden if they're interested. So, with all of that, thank you.
Well.
And we have not only a little gift, we figure it for a charcuterie. Charcuterie plate.
Oh, okay.
And he says, he lived with Ricky.
Oh, okay, thank
and I
you.
figured it turns out to be about 10 cents an hour.
It's better than nothing, isn't it?
Little change of mind never hurt. And also...
Can you turn this way, guys, for that?
I don't know, can you turn?
Yeah, thank you.
We got it. The Appreciation Award presented by the Regency Oaks Resident Organization to Ron Carter for making a valuable contribution to the community of Regency Oaks. There you go. Thank you very much, Ron. Well, I should say we're also a columnist in the local newsletter.
Oh, yeah.
Right up there with Irma Bombeck. Right. Although, it's amazing how many people remember Irma Bombeck. Is that what you say?
Well, just briefly, Chris didn't say that he's my number 2 man out there. He's my scrounger. Every time I needed something, I say, Chris, we could use it next morning and be there. I don't know where he gets some of this stuff. Well, basically, that huge trash can out there, the compost, not compost, the big dumpster, we got a lot of stuff out of there, believe it or not. They throw away some good stuff. Couldn't stand it. So we salvaged a lot of it. But between us, we got it started, we got it looking pretty good. Chris was main force in getting that, our fence around the garden was falling down in places. And he pushed it, made so much noise that they finally replaced it. And we did a good job with that, didn't we, Chris? Anyway, it's looking a little weedy right now. Our spring harvest is mostly over, but we'll weed it, replant it, and it'll be looking good out there before you know it. And we could use some more gardeners. Thank you.
A couple of plots are available, true?
2 or 3.
2 or 3.
Thank you all.
Okay, the next thing that's on the agenda is not on the agenda.
Chris, these people that are coming in, there are a lot of chairs. They don't know where to sit.
Oh, got some empty in the front row.
It's hard to get over there.
And we have a few tweaks to do for on setup here. We did some before the meeting, but we got a few extra.
You better realize how popular it is.
Oh, no. You may come forward too if you wish. Thank you, Ginger. I forgot to tell everyone, silence your phone.
Some of your board members.
Yeah, including me.
Mine is on silent.
There we go. Okay. I would like to call Rita Pearson up here at the podium.
She's looking like, what did I do?
Come on up here. It won't hurt. It won't hurt. You know, for no reason other than we thought it was a good thing to do. That 17 and a half years ago, January of 2006, the Regency Oaks Resident Organization was established. And the first president was Bob Corkum, correct?
Right?
And you were started off as the vice president.
Yes.
Because
He jilted me.
he jilted you, was correct. You were told that there was, vice president doesn't do anything. There's nothing to do.
That was the best job.
No offense, Judy. Well, Bob Corkum resigned. Guess who got to be the president?
Yes.
So I'm not sure if his first term he filled in if you're the 1.5 or if you're actually the second president.
Yeah, I just barely got in.
Just barely got in. But we look back and you're the only...
Well, I tell you, I had the best board. It was wonderful. I was the only woman on there, and all those men were high in the service and everything, and they were wonderful and very, very good. and that was pleasant. That's how I made it through.
Well, not only the first female president, but you've been the only one since then, in 17 and a half years.
I'm still here.
And you're still here, you're the surviving member. But I want to thank you, all of us want to thank you for setting a precedent, and a good precedent, for an active board and an organization.
It's the beginning.
Yes.
And you're carrying it on.
Yeah, and there's a few of the presidents, there's Don and Lou are the only two other surviving, past presidents. With that, other than, it's a nice thing to do. There's no plaques, there's no... What you're not going to do is sit down with Johanna and earn a Isabel for applause from the past. You're welcome. Well, we're just we're done with the fun stuff. Into the business. I was doing some reconnoitering, and communication is important, and I've found out that written communication is sometimes the best because it's available. And in the dining rooms, both north and south, there's a box that says dining comment cards. Well, the comment cards are no longer being used, but the boxes haven't disappeared. And I talked to dining management, and they said to use the back of the extraordinary impressions card. Say the good things on the front, and if you got comments or suggestions or problems, put them in the back. Make sure you do the time, the date, and a server's name or number. So, and then drop it in the box. You can put the extraordinary impressions side in either that box or the box for the extraordinary impressions. It's basically the same for work orders. You fill out a work order for your apartment, and you give it to the front desk. They put it in the system. You want to put the time, date, and place of when you gave it in there. Because if you go to a meeting and say, it's been 2 weeks since I turned it in, it may not be 2 weeks. It might be only 10 days. We tend to exaggerate sometimes. And everyone knows you can do it for your apartment, but you can also do it for common areas. If you see a nick in the woodwork for the wall from CDS going through, or some mover being a little rough, you can turn in the work order to have that repaired. Now, they might not do a small item right away, but if they build them up, they can spend the day doing what we used to call KUFU, clean up, fix up. And but documentation, that's what's really important. Is that me?
Oh, yeah.
That was me, snap right on the top, huh? Okay. And one of the things is another way to communicate is that you can go to the dining and food chat. You can go maintain with maintenance. You can go to housekeeping and bring it up to the directors. Which brings me to the point is this afternoon is in the RO where all the directors are going to be in the breezeway and you can talk to them.
Changed to Grand Lobby South. It's a little warm out there.
Changed. Guess what? It's hot outside. So they're in Grand Lobby South.
Yes.
So, yeah, well, it depends. So, if you go over there, you can talk directly to a director, or if they're not there, they're second in command. So, communicate. That's the key, and document. Be specific. With that, I'll start with Lou down at the far end with the committee reports. Sorry to wake you, Lou.
Surprise. The Finance Committee. Our committee mission is to monitor the revenues and expenditures for the operation of Regency Oaks. In other words, show me the money. Our committee consists of Bobby Boucher, Marie Bishop, Mike Green, Mike Cohen, Fred Green, Don Hamilton, Bill Muscadini, and C.L. Woolman. And of course, we work very closely with Sherry Schetzer, our financial director. What have we done this past quarter? Well, the committee has reviewed the monthly, quarterly, and executive summaries for the fiscal year 2023 on the fiscal operations of Regency Oaks. As of this date, Regency Oaks is within budget and is in a good financial position. The committee has also been invited to interface again this year with management on the preparation of the budget for fiscal year 2024. Myself, Fred Green, and Tony Quadamani have been asked to represent the residents for the preparation for the fiscal year budget of 2024. The committee was also briefed prior to the announcement of the 5% increase for the monthly service fee for the residents with September contracts. And hopefully we will be briefed again for those who have residents have the January contracts. As you know, the people that have September contracts, their contracts read cost of living or 5%, whichever is greater. They took the, management took the prerogative to make it 5%. Those of you that have the January contracts, they read cost of living plus 2%. So we don't know what's going to happen there. That will be determined in September for your January. Hopefully they'll give us a briefing on that. That pretty much covers what we worked with. We'll be meeting again Friday, and we may know something about what's going to happen for those of you that hold a contract in January. That's it.
I'm Mary Ellen Gardner. I'm the chairperson of the Technology and Communications. That's a good one. We have, because of budget constraints, we have not been working on big projects because of everything that's happening right now. But we have tried to meet the needs of the residents in the most productive way possible. We provided an Excel class where we discovered many users needed a basic understanding of how programs and devices work. We led a basic class for iPhone users. We led a basic class for Android phone users, and led a basic class for Windows about folders and files and documents. We will continue to schedule classes after our meeting in August. We would like to keep everything to 8 people in the class so that you can get individual attention. If there's 8 people, 4 from each building signed up, if there's other people, we will have another class. After discussing with our executive director, Lindsay Weaver, options for IT assistant in the future and what that would mean, it's more or less not a budgeted item right now. We're looking into the possibility of getting an intern from one of the educational facilities in the area. So we're working on that. We are in need of those residents who can assist other residents on a one-to-one basis with their iPhone or Android phone, tablets, and computers. And I have some lists up here. If anybody's interested afterwards, you can come and see me if you're willing to help people. And if you're interested in advanced classes in either Word or Excel, and if you're willing to assist with classes, and then I would be interested in a session on how to use the Regency Oaks calendar and the online directory. So if you're interested in any of those, come up afterwards and see me, and we'll try to get the most important thing going for you. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Andrea Hagner, and I chair the Activities Committee. Our members are Mary Ellen Bader, Mary Ellen Gardner, Ann Tanner, Judy Collins, Betty Egray, Millie Diaz, Mike Murphy, Bill Moscardini, Lorraine Moscardini, Carol Rasinger, Beth Beaumont, and Ginger Horton and Samantha Sira serve as our director and coordinator. And we are a very busy committee, as you probably are aware. Beth Beaumont joined the committee this last month, and excuse me, she jumped right in. She is working on the book swap along with Valerie McAllister. They've got bins out for collection, everything is going right along. Carol Rasinger joined, and she got drafted into doing the arts and crafts show and sale. That's starting to get moving too. She'll be working with Tina Donaghy and with Millie Diaz and Julie Collins to set that up and organize that. And that'll be the 9th of November, right, Carol? All right, so that's underway. But most of this quarter we spent with a survey. Mary Ellen Gardner was spearheading the whole thing, and she does marvelous work. We surveyed the community to see which services we offer and that are appreciated, and getting suggestions on what would be good additions. 118 residents responded to the survey. Of those, 93 of them percent of them said that they engaged in individual hobbies. 96% said they enjoyed spending time in small groups. 89% enjoyed spending time in larger groups. 90% enjoyed attending special events. And 78% they were enjoying enough support in pursuing their interests. Those numbers, combined with the glowing comments from several people on the surveys, make us feel like we're on the right track. Our goal is to make sure everybody has something they can enjoy and attend. And we got lots of suggestions. I'm going to go through a few of them with you and see which ones you might respond to and we're up with. Some of the proposals for occasional sessions about hospice, about a trip to Tampa by ferry, sessions with the mayor and or Clearwater representatives. It's also interesting. 15 people wanted economic history as part of great courses. I guess Tony did such a good job with your program that it's time to go deeper. 9 more people want to do Writing My Life Story. 23 said they wanted more health and wellness speakers. And to that along those lines, I've talked to Carol, our nurse, and Kelly, our new resident director, and they're putting together a health fair. 13% suggested a finance club or class, which I thought was interesting. 36 wanted coffee with the director. She could get really overcaffeinated. 23 wanted more entertainers. 12 wanted mystery dinners. 14 wanted theme dinners. 12 wanted balance classes. 12 wanted nature study. 10 wanted art classes. 15 wanted outside speakers. And 15 wanted swap meets, both clothes and books. Almost every survey we got said they could use some technical help. We also got some requests for transportation, to concerts, cultural events, art exhibits, a wildlife sanctuary, and other points of interest. Some of these things are in works already, and others will be a challenge. Room and calendar space are always going to be an issue. The new town hall doesn't really give us any new revenues. We're just shifting things around. Mainly, however, we need people to step in and lead some of these groups. If you or a group of friends like an idea, either let Ginger or myself or any committee member know. We have lists of people who have indicated an interest to get you started. And we've got all kinds of information on various things where you can get information to get you started. I brought along Mary Ellen's wonderful survey compilation, and the list of people who signed that they would like to do various things. So afterwards, you want to come up and see who might work with you. We can get started on something, okay? Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Candy Muller. I'm chair of the Dining Services Committee. That's food. Don't panic, Chris, but before I give you our quarterly report, I'm going to throw a number out at you. The number is 36,000. Does anybody have any idea what that might be? Meals served in the past quarter. 36,000 meals have been served to residents. And I think that's something we need to be proud of, because that's a big number and it seems to be working. Okay, I'll go on now with my report. Members of our Dining Services Committee are Pat Geisheimer, Pam DiMarino, Margaret Hendry, Bobby Belcher, Edie James, Brenda Jones, Tammy Maurice, Linda Rudiger, Judy Studebaker, Ricky, John, and Phil, who you all know. I call them the boys because they're the ones that get the 36,000 meals a quarter served. Mainly what the dining committee does is listen to, share thoughts with the crew, with the boys. We represent you at the dining committee meetings, so we do ask, as Chris had mentioned, that if you have good things or bad things, please let us know so we can bring them up at the meeting. And again, get a day, a time, and a person. And it's not that you're turning anyone in, it's just that we want to be able to go back, and if someone needs retraining or if someone needs a different understanding, we can know who it is. Don't just say, we'll add a server that, you know, whatever. This quarter, the dining committee has completed, helped the boys with the setup, opening, and use of the food service area here in the town hall. Alfresco dining has begun for the pub, so you can eat outside if you choose to. We have some really nice omelet stations that have been added to Sunday brunch. A new dining room manager has been hired. We are continuing menu chats, and all our members of the dining committee attend those menu chats, and we do encourage you to come, because when we go over the menu, they listen and they will make changes on the menu. Pop-ups continue and new servers have been hired. So thank you.
Good morning, I'm Judy Studebaker, and I chair the Sales and Marketing Committee. Members of the committee are John Bergman, Bill DiMarino, Eleanor Finn, Chris Jenex, Cheryl Hewlett, Chet James, Carolyn Montgomery, and Ann Siraj. As many of you know, Perry Goodbar resigned as Sales and Marketing Director to take care of his mother in Virginia. The search for a replacement is ongoing. No one wants a, quote, warm body, unquote, to fill this position. At Amy Wall's suggestion, she is the Regional Sales and Marketing Director, we won't be meeting again until the position has been filled. We haven't had a meeting since January, and this is leading to much frustration for me and the committee members. I will be meeting with Amy tomorrow, and hopefully we can move forward even without a new Director of Sales and Marketing. There is much concern about the number of people being moved in who don't seem to be really qualified to live in independent living. When we moved in almost 11 years ago, we had to pass a test and have a doctor attest to the fact that we were qualified to live in an independent living community. I know there are new ADA rules. I will be discussing this with Amy tomorrow. I will be sure the longtime residents here who have concerns will have their concerns discussed.
I'm Chet James. I'm chairman of the Building and Grounds Committee. Members of my committee are Gene Beagles, Margaret Hendry, Ken Cass, Bill DiMurino, Steve Evans, Don Graham, Ed Hawks, Tony Quattromani, and Lou Laszlo, and Mike White. We've dealt with a number of issues this year so far. One of the issues we had earlier was the lack of ADA toilets in this building, okay? That has been remedied at our recommendation, okay? And we've also recommended that they take a look at power flush toilets in the public restrooms that are on the first floor. They have been added to the ladies' restroom in the north building. Those are fairly expensive. They're about $800 to $1,000 each. So it will be something that we'll have to look at in next year's budget. We have recommended that the stairwell identifications be identical in both buildings. The stairwells are identified by placards in the north building, but they are not in the south building. That is an issue that will be remedied soon. And I have an acronym for soon, okay? That's September, October, or November. Another item we recommended that will be done is recommended to paint the ends of the curbs on the main entrance yellow, which makes them compliant with the code. Okay, that will be done after the paving is finished, so we'll talk about it at our next meeting. We've also recommended that a chemical be added to the drains in every apartment's air conditioning system as part of filter replacement. When they replace the filters in the air conditioner, they also go into the closet and take a look at and add chemicals to that so that the drains do not clog, which has been that's been really the principal issue with the air conditioners. We have recommended that they do a bike inventory for new residents when they come in. They do inventory for autos and collect that information, but we apparently have a number of abandoned bicycles on the facility, and we need to do something with them, okay, like donate them. So we're trying to get that put into Ginger's area and into marketing, so they'll do that ahead of time. One of the things that I would recommend that people from the north building be aware of if you're coming over to the south dining room for Sunday's evening meal, we have some supplementary air conditioning units in there. They're very large and they're a little bit noisy, okay? So just be aware of that. And that pretty well sums up what we have done. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Chair. I'm Tony Quattromani. This says I'm the treasurer, and I can assure you that we're solvent. We haven't spent anything in my entire realm as the treasurer, so we're in pretty good shape. Yeah, well, yeah, 13. We make interest of 13 to 14 cents a month. So by the time we all retire, we'll hit 2,000. We're not there yet. We're 1917. But anyway, that's enough of the Treasury. Thank you, Bobby. I chair now the Health and Safety Committee, and our members are John Bergman, Susan Haverbeck, Toby Shudot, Karen Lee, and Millie Diaz. And the representatives from management are our new Director of Resident Services, Kelly Clark, and Christine Sensakowicz, the Innovative Health Service. We only have one meeting under my realm, so I don't have a lot to report on. We meet every other month on the third Monday of every other month, and the next meeting will be on August 21st, 2023, and that's before soon. At 2 p.m. We meet in the private dining room in the south. Committee considerations for the past quarter and beyond. Safety along the roadways of Regency Oaks. Dangerous parking along the roadways and on grass. And the people that park are not just associates. There are some residents that seem to want to park on the road. And vendors, not so much. The vendors have a nice parking space and they fill it up pretty well. We've had some improvement, as you know, particularly in the north, but there's still more that needs to be done. Someone was speeding from the north towards the south, past the south, the north entrance, the north gate. Somebody's went right through that thing. It's a good thing I stopped at stop signs, because that person went through probably at 25, 30 miles an hour, and they went fast. I couldn't see who it was. But that's dangerous. That's really dangerous. And the other thing is speeding. That's the other area we were looking at. And here again, the speeding is by staff, residents, and guests, and vendors, although mostly the vendor is the trash person in the morning. And those of you that get up early in the morning have probably seen that, so we'll have to do something. The residents, it was brought up last quarter or sometime recently past that maybe we need speed bumps, and everybody said, no, 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 no. Well, the problem still persists. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to persist until we do something. Now, if you all want to stand out there and yell at people that speed, that'd be good. But I'm going to bring speed back up again one of these days. Anyway, that's it. We do need people. We need some interest, some new members on the committee. So if you're interested, please stop by and see me. And my committee, as with all committees, is open to residents. However, the rooms we meet in are very small. So if you want to attend, give the resident, the chairperson, a phone call, and we'll make sure there's room. Because some of the committees are big and the rooms are small. And then something I'd like to add has nothing to do with health and safety, but it's a favorite topic of mine, as many of you probably know, and that's communication. Now, I'm preaching to the choir here because we've got over 70 people here, which is what, roughly 20%, a little less than 20% of the members. The rest of them aren't communicating. So it's up to all of us here to make sure that our neighbors are aware of what is going on. We have lots of announcements, but I'm going to give you one example, and I think this is a classic example. Two weeks ago, we had this big festival here. Everybody dressed up. Well, I got on the elevator at 3:45. I was coming to the, whatever, it was whatever time it was between the two anyway. I got on the elevator, my wife and I were all dressed up, another couple all dressed up, and one man. And he said, what's going on? Everybody's dressed up. He said, I never pay attention to anything's going on, so I don't know what's going on. So I said, well, we have this big function, by the way, where are you going? Now it was after 4 o'clock. He said, I'm going to the dining room. I said, I hate to tell you this, but there's no dining service after this today. So that's poor communication. And it's at the result of the people that should be listening. Yeah, it's listening. And reading. And paying attention. Okay, that's it. Thank you all. Thanks for bearing with me. Oh.
Yeah, you can keep that.
I'll do that. Okay.
We'll have Lou and Tony with the microphone if anybody has any questions. Right here. Already.
I have a comment. There are probably many people that do not know that there is a place to park a walker if you do not want to bring it into the room. It's right in the lobby. There's a half wall. Behind the half wall is a place for you to park your walker.
Communication. Yeah, it's just a little cubby, kind of like a coat room, like we used to have when we were kids. Yes. Mickey.
Hello to everybody. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, I have two things to share with you. One is very simple. Mathematics, 2 + 2 is 4. We are trying to arrange to have a dedicated person, expert, to come probably twice a year to tune our pianos. If we can do that, we are going to get a better prices and very good service. Lindsay asked me to coordinate that effort. I'm doing best I can, and would like to know if any one of you has a piano that all piano needs to be tuned. It's recommended twice a year. If you would let me know who you are and that you are interested, I'm going to be able to submit it to the person who we are looking at, we are talking to, and give them that information. So let me know, please. We have, average tuning cost in our area is a little less than $200. We got, the last time when this man was here, good tuning for much less than that, less than $150. So if we have 3 or more people who are going to be on the same ticket, so to speak, we're going to get good prices. Simple enough. Second one is a little bit more difficult to explain and get some response, I'm sure. I have been, ever since I came here, participating in support group on Parkinson's disease that meets on the Hale Center in Dunedin. That happens every third Monday in Hale Center, and it has been very good to me. It's been very good to people who are coming to that support group. Now, last meeting, we had a person from the East Coast, from St. Lucie Township. She was telling us about the competing organization to Michael Fox organization. So we have now a World Series of 2 large organizations that are doing tremendously good work for many of us. I do know, by observing around, that we have in this institution many people who have some degree of Parkinson's disease. I do, not ashamed of it. If we can express enough interest, one of those 2 organizations, American Parkinson's Disease Association, is interested in supporting and helping us form our own support group. That would be tremendous because they do have funds, they do have excellent speakers, leaders in research in that area, and people we have due for some breaking results, some good news in Parkinson's disease. So I urge you, if you happen to be one of us, lucky with Parkinson's disease, let me know. I don't need to know your name. I just need to know that we have enough people who are interested, who would want to participate. And I will take it from here to the person who is initiating contacts and see if we can organize something that will help us all. If you have any questions, please ask. Thank you.
Any other questions? Announcements? If not, we got one more.
I don't know if this is something that should be brought up here, but I think I brought it up once before, quite some time ago, about the ducts in the building here and how dirty they are. I've got some pictures here that I've taken of the ducts. They go ahead and they have now cleaned just the outside of them where the vents are, but there is still dirt and mold coming back out, and I have a current picture of the mold that's growing out on the vents, the air conditioning vents, if anybody's interested in looking at them.
Have you had the so-called mold tested? It's actually mold. If you haven't, that needs to be done first before we can do anything.
Well, I've been told that because I
of my own problems with asthma that I need to pay for my own duct cleaning, which is inside the building. That's, to me, their maintenance. I can't get any insurance for that. Insurance is inside the apartment. That's number one. Number two is, if I clean my ducts, that doesn't help me when I'm walking around the rest of the buildings that have had the problem. I'm sorry.
Well, inside your own apartments is the responsibility of the apartment resident. That is an issue that's been discussed all the way up to peak, and if you want to have your ducts cleaned, you can have them cleaned. The technical recommendation is if you do not absolutely know that it's mold, you probably shouldn't have your ducts cleaned.
Do I bring in somebody outside like the Department of Health, or go to some extreme like this to find out what it is?
Whatever it is, yes, you have to do that.
Okay.
We're in the back.
Hi, this is just a suggestion. We only have one narrow exit door to the outside in this whole facility. The rest of them go into the lounge. If we had to evacuate, we'd only have one outdoor, and they're having troubles because we only have a single door going into this agenda. They can't get the piano in without disassembling it, and some of the musicians will have problems possibly bringing in large equipment for speakers and whatever. It was just an idea, if just to consider making that a double door, the one outside exit that we have for this particular room if we had to evacuate. And also it would be to be easier to bring in the larger things that are needed in this agenda.
Thank you, Diane. That's something we'll look into. I was just noticing that we have a fire exit here.
That's through the wall.
Doors over there.
The doors are over there, correct.
Yeah, but that's not to the outside.
No.
No, this goes into the other half of the room. The exit for the building is over there.
I know, only one narrow exit for
Yeah.
this. And there's a double door here.
No. That goes out to the lobby. Her point was that this room has one exit.
Narrow. One single exit.
Yes, that's what I said. And the way to get to it, if the wall is up, you got to go through another room with all the furniture that's in it. So they did not design this very well.
Anything else? Oh, one more.
I've talked to Ginger and I've talked to Samantha about bringing in another travel agent who's very, very active up in the area that I came from to bring in shows, demonstrations, whatever else. And they say no because they already have somebody. Why can't we have a little bit of competition here? That's all.
Want to make a note, Andrea? Okay.
The one we have is no charge. He doesn't charge for anything he does, and he can do more than he's doing now if we want him to. I don't know why we need more than one. Sorry.
I thought you meant.
No, I do that.
Okay. If not, any more questions, we will stand adjourned. Thank you all for coming.